to Mineral Springs Park in Pekin, Illinois for the 1993 Illinois High School Association Class AA State Softball Championship game. Hello everyone, I'm Ann Penstone. Along with me is Hall of Fame pitcher and coach of Illinois Central College, Lori Ramsey. And Lori, once again, it's great to work with you. We didn't think we were going to get to see these games. The weather in Illinois was terrible this week, but tonight is absolutely perfect. What kind of game can we expect?
Well, I think we can expect good defense, excellent pitching from both teams, and hitting will be the big question mark, I think. Herrin has hit a little more in this tournament than Downers Grove South.
Now you get a look at the route that each team got here. Herrin with the sectional semifinals and finals, and then through the tournament quarters and in the semifinals, and then Downers Grove South. Had a very close quarterfinal game with Notre Dame out of Peoria. Went 11 innings. And Lori, earlier this evening, had a chance to talk with Coach Ron Havelka, making his first appearance here down at State.
Okay, well, probably the number one ingredient I think that has made her so successful is her competitiveness. She has a tremendous desire to win. She seems to bear down more the tougher the situations in the game get. And right now she's been throwing the ball very, very well and working the corners. And we're going to have to, she's going to have to do that tonight against Herrin for us to be successful.
Lori, what about Amy Elza?
Amy Elza is an outstanding pitcher. She's got a rise ball, a drop ball, a changeup, and most impressively an out curve, which is her bread and butter pitch, and she's been able to get it over.
Coach Bruce Gerlach of Herrin has been here 7 times before, twice in the championship game before tonight, but he's never won it. Lori talked to him earlier this evening.
Well, I think it's the fact that we make the routine play a good bit of the time, and then on occasion we can make the exceptional play. Of course, I think that a lot of our defense starts with our pitcher, Jamie Shattuck.
And Lori, you've been very impressed with Jamie Shattuck.
Well, she does what every coach wants a pitcher to do. She gets out ahead of the batter. She's always around the plate. She's deceptively quick, and she's got a rise and a drop.
Well, Jamie's not only a pitcher, but what a hitter she is.
Jamie's got a nice, short, compact swing. She swings at strikes, and she really gets good leg drive on her swing.
And on the other side, for Downers Grove South, their catcher, Amy Thompson, had a great hit and a crucial one in the quarterfinals.
Well, Amy's Miss Versatility, you know. She played on their runner-up team in the state volleyball tournament. She's a great defensive catcher and a good hitter.
We hope to have it all on for you tonight, and we're looking forward to tonight's game. We'll be back with the lineups right after this. Welcome back to Mineral Springs Park here in Pekin. As you see some of the scenery that's going on, a beautiful night here in Pekin. As you see some of the neighbors that are relaxing, well, all the action is going to be taking part right here in front of you. As Downers Grove South takes the field, the Mustangs making their first appearance since 1980. And here are the starting lineups and batting for Herrin. In center field, Nicole Murray, who has been hot. At second base, Robin Hoagland. The pitcher, Jamie Shattuck. In right field, April Long. The Twins at first base, Marty Calcaterra. And at shortstop, Maggie Calcaterra. The catcher, Jenny Overmeyer. At third base, Shelley Davey. And in left field, Lindy Capogreco. They'll be defended by, out in the left field, Carrie Sullivan. In center, Debbie Mays. In right, Aaron Ensbigelis. The shortstop is Jamie Balowski. At third base, Dana Purgatorio. At second, Kirsten Lindell. At first, the freshman, Leanne Grinsweetz. The pitcher, Amy Elza, who we saw earlier, and the catcher, Amy Thompson. There's your defense. Amy Elza doing a little mind sweeping out there.
Amy Elza has had an outstanding tournament, Ann, and I think we're going to see a pitcher with a lot of variety who features a rise ball and, even more impressively, an out curve.
It's also an honor to be an umpire here at the state tournament, and there are the 6 that'll be working tonight behind the plate. Bill Jacko. At first base, Pat Creek. At second base, Bobby Manigling. At third base, Lee Lupi. In left field line, James Bush. And in right field line, Dale Johnson. It is absolutely perfect here this evening. There is absolutely no wind, as you can see from the flag there, and it is pleasant as an understatement. Amy Elza and Amy Thompson talking, getting their strategy straight. Amy's a very calming influence on her pitcher. And Elza's definitely the leader on this team. Smiles right now. Both these pitchers have only one loss this year.
Right, and it's easy to see why. They get the ball over the plate. They're very similar in one way. They all throw a rise, a drop, a changeup, and throw the ball over the plate consistently, and each has an out curve.
You saw that stat for Downers Grove South, who's had a tremendous year in girls athletics. It's their third team to be at the state series. Their volleyball team finished second. Their basketball team made it downstate, and here they are in the championship game again. And Amy Thompson, the catcher, was on that volleyball team. Big breath by Nicole Murray. She is 4 for 4 in the semifinal game and went into the record book. Says, we're ready to play ball. Ball, says Bill Jacko, and we're underway here tonight.
I think one of the keys in getting to Elza is not going for the balls off the plate.
Murray's hitting .353. She has been a tear on the base pass. Nobody's been able to keep her off. Of course, they haven't played each other. That's one of the things that's fun. Sometimes these teams have played earlier in the year, but because of the logistics and the distances, they have not played before.
Herrin is the southernmost team in this tournament, and of course, Downers Grove South is from up north in the Chicago area.
Murray, the third baseman, taps it. She's got good speed, picked up by Elza, and bobbled there. And it may very well be an error on the play. We'll wait to see who it's assessed to. But we have a base runner, and that's exactly what you don't want to have happen. But if you're Herrin, you're very happy.
It's one of those surprise hits for the pitcher, and she did an excellent job of getting to the ball and made a good throw. It's a ball that should have been handled by the first baseman.
Grinsweetz used the glove up instead of glove down. Right. She's just a freshman. That brings up Robin Hoagland, the senior. She's a second baseman, batting .322 for the season. See if you got a steal on. Good lead, bunts down, tag, nice play by Grinsweetz. So she comes back strongly after the bobble early in the game there. She advances the runner.
And she didn't make the extra throw to second base when there wasn't a play. As you can see, the ball comes off very hard. She gets the runner, she turns and realizes it's a little late and doesn't make the useless throw.
So now we've got a runner in scoring position with Nicole Murray out at second. That brings up the pitcher trying to help her cause, Jamie Shattuck. Jamie not only pitches well, as we mentioned to you before, but she's hitting a lofty .467.
In softball, pitchers are really the best hitters in many cases on their teams, unlike big league baseball. The best athlete in the school is many times the pitcher, and she's also the best hitter in a lot of cases.
Well, Jamie just did something interesting. She switched bats. Apparently didn't like the way that felt or decided she needed a different weight with this pitcher. First time she's faced her.
I would think she went to a lighter bat against a fast pitcher. Jamie didn't like that call. She thought it was a little bit too far outside, and Elza is going to throw out curves at these batters all night long.
She's way ahead right now, 0-2. Change of speeds, goes up high, 1-2. Bill Jacko asked Pat Creek for some help, see whether she'd gone around. She says, no way. Nicole Murray checking out where the fielders are so she can anticipate.
I think getting the first run's awfully important in this game.
Back up over.
This could be a 1-0 ball game, and of course it takes 2 to beat you. In softball, 2's a big margin.
Well, and it also, we've talked to the coaches, and both of them have said it's very tough to come back from a bad inning. You don't want to have that kind of thing. Softball, maybe more than many sports. There's Bruce Gerlach from Herrin. He really looks nervous, doesn't he, Lori?
Yeah, that's been his spot to coach in the tournament. I looked down the other night, and he was leaning against the dugout, but I think that's a little deceptive. He told us he goes in the gym at 5:30 every morning with people coming in to throw and practice on their own. So he's put a little of himself into this program.
2-2 the count. Well hit. That one's in the gap. It's going to bring in this run, and it's going to be at least only going to be a single with a hustle out there by Debbie Mays, but the first run is across for the Herrin Tigers. Well, Shattuck nailed that one right on the nose in the gap in left center.
Herrin has been a team that has hit this whole tournament, and Shattuck particularly, they got the ball up on her. And when you throw a good hitter a high ball that doesn't rise, it's usually goodbye, and that's exactly what that was. That was a flat rise ball. Flat until it left the bat, that is.
Well, Lloyd, it's also crucial that you got that leadoff runner getting on base. Nicole Murray has been such a factor in her ball games down at the tournament, getting on all the time.
Right, and in softball, you always have that really lightning quick team that makes the defense nervous, and I think the first baseman might have been a little bit pressured and taken her eye off the ball.
Well, now batting is April Long, the cleanup hitter. She's a senior, she's a right fielder, batting .359. 1 out in the top half of the first, and 1 strike to April.
Coach Gerlach mentioned what a tremendous competitor Jamie Shattuck was, and she came through there under pressure.
That ball looks like it's going to tail, and it is fair. It hit eyes down the left field line. Gerlach waving home Shattuck, and now the left fielder's holding up her hand saying the ball has been lodged, and that will be a stand, that will be ruled a double as it went underneath the fence. It's a flexible fence to keep the kids from getting hurt, but it's going to count as an RBI double, and Herrin just pounding the ball right now.
You don't see many balls go under the fence. Of course, the other day we saw one go a long, long way over. First baseman,
that's April Long on second. Here's her swing.
Another high ball that she leveled on, hit the chalk line right under the fence. The outfielders are always taught to raise their arms so that the umpire comes and looks, because if you touch the ball before it goes under, it's in play, even if it does go under.
Well, we've had a little change here, Lloyd, during you got to see the replay. They have recalled Jamie Shattuck back to third, ruling that since it was a double, she must only advance 2 bases from first to third. So now there are runners at second and third with Marty Calcaterra, the first baseman, up to bat. Marty's a senior.
Marty Calcaterra plays first. Her senior, the other senior, Maggie Calcaterra, plays short. They're both going to Evansville University next year on softball scholarships.
Takes that ball inside, 2-0. Asked for help, see whether she got around. No. And yes, it's going to be 1-1. So I like the idea that the umpires are asking each other for help. They're a team as well.
And they're doing it more than I've ever seen them do it before.
High and outside.
I guess they don't consider it a sign of weakness anymore.
Well, what's important is that the right thing is done for the kids in the game, and if that helps. Got 1-0 now, Herrin, and you see the 2 hits. That ball was scored a hit and not an error earlier when the first baseman unable to field that throw from the pitcher, Amy Elza. Score count right now, 2-2 to Marty Calcaterra. And they're going outside on her.
Outside and
nice
down.
Pitch.
That's her bread and butter pitch, and that's where she has to stay. Well, that was up a little more, I think, than she would have liked. That was an out curve. Hard pitch to hit.
Hit to Jamie Balowski. Long throw, caught and fielded nicely by Leanne Grinsweetz for the 3rd out of the inning, but not before there were 2 hits, and the first run goes across, and after half an inning, it's 1-0 Herrin. Bottom half of the first, we'll give you the batting lineup for the Mustangs of Downers Grove South. Leading off in right field, Aaron Bigelis. At second base, Kirsten Lindell. First base, Leanne Grinsweetz. The catcher, Amy Thompson. Pitching, Amy Elza. Then the shortstop, Jamie Balowski. Left fielder, Carrie Sullivan. And center field, Debbie Mays. And at third base, Dina Purgatorio. But she will be designated hitter will be Katie Wise batting for her. As you look at Jamie Shattuck, the outstanding pitcher from the Herrin Tigers, who is leading 1-0.
Who did what all good pitchers do, got her own run home.
About time you all helped each other out. Fouled off. Erin hustles down, but she'll come back. Counts 1-2 as you see some of the great crowd here this evening. She's such a calm pitcher.
They have her listed in the program as 5'9", and I asked her what her height was tonight. She said 5'4".
Everybody wants to be taller. Strikeout number 1 for Shattuck as Ensbigelis goes down swinging.
Shattuck threw a great inside rise ball, and Ensbigelis never did get her arms out away from her body, and it was a very hard swing for her to control.
And that's going to bring up second baseman Kirsten Lindell, a senior, batting .351.
Lindell's an honor student with 3.8 grade point. She wants to go on to college and study medicine.
So far, Lori, Shattuck is doing exactly what you talked about. She's around the plate all the time. You can't be up there waiting for a strike because you're going to get one right away. And she's deceptively fast, as you mentioned. Because she's smaller, she's got a quicker delivery.
She's small, but she's got a great arm swing. She's very quick with her arm swing.
We saw that with the bat.
Right.
She goes ahead quickly, 1-2.
And she's got Downers Grove.
There's a defense facing this batter, Kirsten Lindell, and left Capogreco in center, Murray, and then right long around the infield as the ball is hit sharply to shortstop Maggie Calcaterra. She throws to Sister Marty for the second out of the inning.
That was a real good play by Calcaterra. She got a little half bounce. That's the hardest play for an infielder, when you've got to field that half bounce. You're coming in and you don't really get much of a bounce. And she's got a great arm from shortstop, very accurate.
They're outstanding fielders. They've made a couple of great plays here during the tournament and impressed a lot of people. Hard hit off the glove of Shattuck, knocked down by Hoagland, but unable to recover it. It'll probably be scored as a hit, and it is. So Leanne Grinsweetz, probably one of the most aggressive of his players, says Coach Ron, gets on with the first hit of the ball game.
She swings with a lot of confidence for a freshman. Right down the middle, and she hits it right down the middle. That's what you call hitting the pitch where it's pitched.
2 outs. Grinsweetz is the tying run, and with at bat Amy Thompson, the cleanup hitter. She's batting .360, and as we mentioned, she had that game-winning RBI in the quarterfinal game, a tremendous ball game against Peoria Notre Dame. It went 11 innings.
Peoria Notre Dame played just unbelievable defense in that game, and it was a championship game in itself.
Off on the steal, throw down, and she is underneath the tag by the throw of Jenny Overmeyer, and a stolen base for Leanne.
Teams have not run much on Herrin in this tournament. Of course, teams haven't been on base much. The throw's much too high. Calcaterra really didn't get there as soon as you'd like to, because the throw was on the runner's side, and if you're not going to be right on the base, you want it on the runner's side.
There haven't really been many steal attempts in the tournament. There's been some catchers with some good arms, and like you say, not a lot of base runners to play around with when every run is crucial.
Right.
There's Overmeyer giving the signals to Shattuck. That ball hit to third baseman Shelley Davy. The long throw over to Marty Calcaterra, and she's out. So after a full inning, it is 1-0 Herrin, but both teams have gotten some hits. We'll be back right after this. Mustangs with a little meeting on the mound. Elza and Thompson making sure they've got their signal straight. And coming to bat here in the top of the second will be Maggie Calcaterra, who had that last put out at first.
Jenny Overmeyer, I believe, Ann. Catcher Jenny Overmeyer.
Correct. Lori, thank you. Jenny Overmeyer, catcher, fouls it up. Assistant coach, 0-1.
These teams are not waiting. They're getting up there and swinging the bat. A lot of teams playing in this tournament have not been this aggressive. There's a lot of confidence in these hitters.
And that put out by Dana Purgatorio, the senior third baseman, as she signals 1 out. So the team's kind of settling in here a little bit. They're feeling each other out as all beginning games go.
That was a changeup by Elza, and Overmeyer was way out ahead of it, and I think she's throwing a pitch she needs to throw in this game, because obviously she's not going to overpower Herrin. They've proven that already.
That brings up Shelly Davy playing the third base, and she's a junior. Here you see hitting .282 with 18 RBIs. She's number 8 batter in the order. Fouled late.
Herrin swinging at that first pitch. Elza likes to throw that first pitch over, and they've picked up on that. Pitchers have to stay out of a pattern, otherwise the other team knows exactly what's coming.
Is it too early to have figured out what the pattern is at this point, Larry?
Well, I think Elza wants to get ahead on the count, and she's going to come at them with that first pitch.
She's 0-2 right now, so she's definitely getting the best of it at this point.
And when she gets ahead, she goes to that out curve an awful lot, because that's the pitch that she appears to have the most confidence in.
Her ball moves a lot. You said you sat behind the backstop and felt that.
Well, she throws a drop, and it looked to me like she could throw it in or out. She throws an out curve, she throws a rise ball, and she throws a good back of the hand changeup. And she spent a lot of hours developing those pitches.
Oh.
There comes the out curve.
It sure did.
And you can always tell it because she finishes with her side to the batter, with her right side to the batter as she comes around.
Shelly Davy was tempted, but held up. 2-2 the count, 1 out. Top of the second inning. Boy, right down the pipe, and Shelly Davy was way late on that one as she goes down swinging for the second strikeout.
Another out curve, and you see her lunging for it. A lot of batters that have trouble with that pitch need to stand a little closer to the plate when you've got a pitcher that's going to throw that as pitch number 1. And pitch number 2 is her rise ball, and she just started out Capagreco with a rise ball.
Capagreco is the left fielder.
Now to the out curve.
But that's not Capagreco batting. She would bat in that order, but batting for her is a designated hitter, Kimmy McNeil. She's a sophomore hitting .308. And right now she's 0-2 against Elza. Elza went with that rise ball, and a little bit too much rise.
Right. Most pitchers will throw that waste pitch on a 2-strike, no-ball count in an attempt to get the batter to swing at a bad pitch, but you have to make it realistic to them, too.
Gotta be believable.
Right.
Down the pipe, but a little bit low. 2-2. 2s across the scoreboard, second inning, and 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs.
Amy Thompson uncharacteristically missed that pitch. You know, Elza pitched 11 very tough innings against Notre Dame the other day, and then 7 more today, so she's working on quite a few innings in a span of about 48 hours.
Well, Lindell to Grinsweetz, and we're out of the inning as Elza seems to have things very settled down and control. It's her team down 1-0, and we'll get ready for bottom of 2. Well, we've had Shattuck batting well for Herrin, who's got the game-winning RBI at the moment. And here's her counterpart, Amy Elza, about to see what she can do to help her cause. Elza wraps one sharply to Robin Hoagland, who comes up cleanly and goes to Marty Calcaterra. So no wasting time, as they know strikes are going to be thrown by Shattuck.
Shattuck's always around the plate, and I don't think that's going to change. I was very impressed with her. And the thing that impresses me the most is how a girl that size throws the ball so hard.
Got timeout on the field as Marty Calcaterra ties her shoe, the first baseman. And you look at Jamie Balowski. Jamie is hitting .404. She's a sophomore, and she is the shortstop. She was the catcher last year, so obviously a very versatile young lady.
And Amy Thompson, the catcher, was the center fielder last year. So Coach Havelka's not one who's afraid to change.
Jamie looked like she was going to try to bunt to get on, pulls the bat back.
This is Ron Havelka's first year with Downers Grove South, and he coached previously at a junior high.
Nice stop by Maggie Calcaterra, but it is going to be an infield hit for Jamie Balowski in the hole. So with 1 out, the Mustangs have a base runner, and that's going to bring up Carrie Sullivan, batting .304, the left fielder.
Notice all the stars on their helmets.
Oh, got cut off, but luckily, heads up. She looked the good base running by Downers Grove South. She looked behind to see Robin Hoagland coming in behind her. 1-0 is the count.
Herrin playing for the bunt.
Missed it. Strike one. She went for it as both the third and first baseman were charging down hard.
Sullivan's like a lot of batters. She's trying to beat it out in a sacrifice situation when you're in the box and get the ball down and not worry about yourself. 99% of the batters do that, though, I think.
It's not a big surprise that there's going to... Oh, she hits away and goes 1-2. So Coach Ron Havelka took the bunt sign off.
Ron Havelka was highly successful at Eisenhower Junior High in Darien, where in 13 years he had a record of 134 wins and 5 losses.
Hit hard to first base, so the sacrifice worked with the swing. And down to second base goes Jamie Balowski as Carrie Sullivan goes out unassisted by the first baseman. And that brings up center fielder Debbie Mays. Debbie, one of the young ladies who played on Downers Grove South volleyball team.
And also one of their honor students.
Debbie batting .262. Hops it up. Catcher Jenny Oakmeyer takes her out of there unassisted. So after 2 complete innings, it's still Herrin 1-0 here at Mineral Springs Park in Pekin, Illinois. What a beautiful evening as you see some of the activities going on here at Mineral Springs Park. A little fire, water, and here are some of the other outstanding ball players in the state. You see one of them here in this ball game here. Joy Battersby, of course, last year from state champion Morris. Not down here this year, but owns the state championship. And some of the other players, Adrian Zeller-Manuka, Priscilla Welch from right here in Pekin, Erin Hickey, who was an outstanding ball player from Morris, Heather Hanselman from Glenbard North, Jenny Clark from local Washington, Betsy Youngquist from Rock Island, Julie McHenry here from Sandburg, and Jennifer Cerveni from Streeter. The Sun-Times had an all-area team, and you see Elza again and Battersby. Boy, I'd like to have that pitching lineup.
You'd win a lot of college games.
Ashley Berggren here in 4th place, Barrington, who is a tremendous basketball athlete as well. And there you see the rest of the young ladies, some of which are here and all of which deserve the honors afforded them by both the Sun-Times and Tribune. And we appreciate the support both those papers have given. And swinging right now, that's the leadoff hitter, Nicole Murray. She scored the only run of the game so far.
Nicole was 4 for 4 in the previous game and on base again on an error in this game. 5 times in a row now.
Called strike as she couldn't quite get the bat back. Elza fooled her, and you don't fool her too often.
She's the ideal leadoff hitter because she makes contact and can run.
Oh, and 2 as Elza stares it down. Now we got a little cat and mouse game going on here. Pitcher takes too long, so the batter steps out. This is something. Our great camera crew is getting some great shots. That's one of the things she does to keep herself calm, which you don't see a lot of pitchers doing. 1 and 2 as that's out.
There's the waist pitch that we talked about. She's getting it just a little too far up.
Change speeds a little bit. It was close. Shakes her head. That was
awful close to take with 2 strikes.
Usually those leadoff batters have good eyes and get on with walks as much as hits, so that's why she's there. 2 and 2. Tough pitch to hit, and she goes down looking for the first out of the inning.
Elza threw her 3 straight pitches high and out, and this one got her. She had a definite plan on where she was going to pitch Nicole Murray.
That brings up Robin Hoagland, who sacrificed her first time up, hitting .322, the senior second baseman. Hit hard to Jamie Balowski, who comes up cleanly. Whoa, nice grab by Leanne Grinsweetz. She tagged her just in case.
Right, right.
So 2 down here in top of 3. And that brings up Jamie Shattuck.
The hitting machine, not just the pitching machine, the hitting machine, who's responsible for driving in Herrin's only run.
Jamie waiting patiently as there's a mound conference between Amy Elza and Amy Thompson.
Jamie will attend Southern Illinois University Carbondale next year on a softball scholarship, and I'm sure Coach Brechtelsbauer has been very pleased with her tournament performance.
Fouled back. Well, her coach, Bruce Gerlach, has been wearing a Salukis hat, so I guess he's encouraging his pitcher. Anything to help out the pitcher, right?
Well, he graduated from SIU, so I guess he hasn't forgotten it, even though he's been at Herrin since 1967, and previously at Benton, where he coached Doug Collins in junior high.
Said he yelled at him a couple times, any coach will do it. He said his dad was a sheriff. Ball called a strike. 0-2. Oh.
Shattuck, I think, thought this was a little high, and she just might have been right. It looked like it was at the top of the helmet, but the umpires have done a fantastic job in this tournament. There have been very few discussions on any call, really.
Count goes 1-2 to Shattuck.
The one thing you don't want to do is duck, which she did a little bit. They'll call it on you no matter where it is if you duck.
There's that out pitch, but this time a little too far outside. 2-2 is the count.
The secret to making contact with Elza is laying off the wide outside pitch, and that's been very hard for most hitters to do in this tournament, and Herrin's really done a very good job of it so far.
Shattuck fouls it off. It looks like it's going to go in the dugout as Grinsweetz tries to make the grab, and it does, so she'll come back for another try. Tiger's trying to help it out and wish it into the dugout.
Yeah, I don't think Grinsweetz got too much help, verbal help from them as she came over to the dugout.
She is a very aggressive young lady for a freshman, and she went right after it.
She plays a very wide first base and gives that right field line, really.
Foul tip. Shattuck hanging tough. Count still 2-2 as she's protecting the plate.
She has a quick arm swing on the mound and quick hands with her bat. She can really whip that bat head through the strike zone.
Well, she nailed one out to deep left center on a rope to get the RBI. So you know she can make contact with power. Oh, nice change of speed down to Purgatorio. Makes a long throw, and she's out, says Pat Creek. So on the long throw, they go down in order here in the top of the third, as you see Amy Elza congratulating Purgatorio. We'll be back with the bottom half of the third right after this.
Gotta believe now, guys.
Everyone hear what a coach says in a championship game? Well, Ron Avelka is saying, definitely talking about it, but we're not quite sure what he's saying.
Bring it back.
Swing the bat. Sounds like good advice to me.
Come on now, Nine.
Well, I think that's been their philosophy. There's Coach Gerlach, who has been coaching the Herrin Tigers for a long time, 15 years as a matter of fact, since 1979.
Well, we got Katie Wise up there, the designated hitter. She's a sophomore, as Shattuck comes inside for ball 1. She's hitting .358. And right now, the Mustangs need a base runner. It'd be nice to get the leadoff on. You got to score 1 run to win a ball game. Right now, they need 1 to tie.
There was that rise ball, and she threw a rocket in, and you notice she got behind on the count, 1 ball, and that was it. Shattuck rarely throws 2 balls in a row.
Ball inside, 2-1. Took a deep breath, was hoping to get the corner on that.
It was an inside pitch. Must have been a little bit too inside.
Wise got a good swing on that one, but goes to 2-2. Nothing but air.
Shattuck's good rise ball again. Where the out curve is Elza's best pitch, the rise ball is Shattuck's best pitch.
Fouled off sharply by Wise. She got the bat head out there and hit it solidly, but just a little bit late. First time through the batting orders, both pitchers and batters are trying to get a feel for each other. And after you've seen it a couple times, it's a lot easier when you've been in the box. It's different than being in the on-deck circle. Fouled again late. Made a couple people move.
Wise really battling her and getting the bat out and making contact on pitches she's probably not real happy to get right now, waiting for Shattuck to make a mistake.
And that's hard to get her to do. Hanging tough. It's a great at-bat right here for Wise. Hanging tough. Saw April Long come in and hustle and bring that ball back into play.
2-2 count on the batter.
Went upside, there's the rise ball. Full count. It's our first one of the ball game, I believe, Lloyd.
Right.
So you can tell how much the batters have gone after the ball, and the pitcher's been right at the plate.
I don't think she'll throw her another rise.
Foul ball. A lot of pitches going on here.
Right. And good pitches. She hasn't thrown anything down the middle yet with a 3-2 count.
Tried to hold up, but Pat Creek down the first baseline says you went too far, and there's a swinging strikeout. Another one.
That's okay. Good at back,
He's not happy with the call or the batter. I think it was probably the call that he wasn't too happy with.
You heard Avalka say, nice at bat, being positive. That was close.
I think she was out there, though.
Good call by the umpire, and Erin Bigelis is up to bat. She went down swinging in the top half of the first. Overmeyer quickly out, and safe, says Pat Creek. So we've got another base runner for the Mustangs on a tough play.
That was a real bang-banger. Jenny Overmeyer does a great job of getting out quickly from behind the plate.
Can't quite see the base because the bar is right there in the way, but it was close. Might have had her, but it's a lot easier with replay.
It certainly is, and it's a lot easier from anywhere but on the field where you have to make that call.
Absolutely, and it's been great to see these umpires work so well together and making calls quickly, concisely. And most coaches don't get upset with any calls as long as the umpire's there, ready to make it, and is hustling. And that fouled off now, so 0-2, and she's trying to bunt, puts her in a different situation.
You know, Ann, I think the skill level is so much higher today in tournament play than it was 10 years ago, but one skill that there's been very weakly displayed in this tournament is the bunt.
That ball may have eyes, and it falls fair, and it skips away. It's going to be tough for April Long as we get a double. The ball's being thrown in now, and Marty Calcaterra has, but not before. We've got runners at second and third on the double that just tailed away when it hit the ground by Kirsten Lindell.
Long made a quick recovery because she skidded and fell and then got up and got the ball.
Some happy Mustang fans.
Just hit it off the end of the bat. That's a real tough play for a right fielder.
Avalka holding her up there. She scrambles back. And that's going to bring up Leanne Grinsweetz, who had a single her last time up at bat. Now it would mean a run. She got a lot of that, but fouled high and away over towards the refreshment stand.
And got around on it. And it's not easy to get around on Shattuck's speed. Grinsweetz is a strong girl with quick hands.
She definitely wants to either get it deep or get it down, so someone's got to make a play. Infield is in. That ball is played sharply, coming home with it. And she is going to be out of there on a good play by Shelley Davey, coming right home on the hopper by Grinsweetz.
That was a good play at both ends. The catcher did an excellent job of getting out and blocking the plate. Here's the pitch. A high hopper, which gives the runner some time to take off. catcher's right out there. Doesn't give her anything to slide to. Leaves no doubt in the umpire's mind.
Good throw and a nice blocking of the plate by Jenny Overmeyer. So well executed by the Herrin Tigers to save the tying run. We've got runners on the corners, which also creates the situation. What do you do in the situation 2 outs? Do you send her?
Well, a lot of coaches will send the runner on first and have her get into a rundown to try and get the runner on third home in a 2-out situation. Some people just throw the ball straight on through. Some people let the runner go to second.
One thing you don't have is a pitcher that's going to waste a lot of pitches, so.
I think Herrin probably has enough faith in Shattuck. They're not going to let the catcher throw to second on this. They're going to put the out responsibility in the pitcher's hand.
Well, Amy Thompson's had some crucial hits before. She swings at that one, got a good cut, goes 1-1.
Beautiful rise ball. Really went up at the last minute.
Thompson hit to the third baseman last time. Would love to find a hole.
The hardest pitch in softball to lay off is that rise ball.
She did that time, smiled, backed away. 2-1. Shattuck not giving her much to look at. Thompson can crank it.
As hard as Thompson's swinging, this would be a great time to throw a changeup.
Bounce right back to Shattuck, who gets herself out of the jam, going right to first baseman Marty Calcaterra. And after 3 full innings, after an exciting half of this one, it's still Herrin, 1-0. We're glad you're joining us here in Mineral Springs Park in Pekin, Illinois, and we'd like to remind you that the broadcast rights to this game have been granted to Sports Channel by the IHSA solely for the entertainment of our viewing audience. Any reproduction without the written consent of Sports Channel and the IHSA is prohibited. Great shot. The wind you can see from the flag out in center field is still, there is nothing. It is an absolutely gorgeous, perfect night for softball here in early summer. Most of the teams are now just out of school. In fact, some of them got away with not having to do finals because they were down here.
That's what I'd call a great trade-off if I were a student.
That's motivation to get to state tournament, right?
Right. And to stay in play long enough that you don't have to go back and take them.
Now, Downers Grove South has hit the ball. They just haven't been able to string them together to put a run across the plate right now. As you see Elza with their characteristic warm-up actions.
Well, I think you saw the third dimension of Shattuck on that last play. She was off the mound quick as a cat and made a nice play on that ball, hit up the middle to go with her excellent pitching and her excellent hitting.
Well, coming up to bat is April Long, the cleanup hitter for the Herrin Tigers, and she had a double last time up.
And made a very quick recovery on that ball that tailed off on her in right field last inning.
She did the same thing on her double, got a ball to tail away. So she's done it on both sides as she looks at strike one. Looks down for the signals from Bruce Gerlach and steps in, the lefty.
April will be attending Rend Lake College next fall, going on and playing softball at one of the finer junior colleges in Southern Illinois.
Also goes high, and the count goes to 1-1. It's a humid evening this evening, and there's a lot of time between pitches. Elza's a little bit slower between pitches than Shattuck.
You won't find anyone working much faster than Shattuck.
Goes down and low and fouled off. Gerlach kicks it. Gerlach kills it. Well, he's so relaxed. He's down there with his arm against the dugout, but you can be sure that his mind is working. He said he really needed to get some base runners because he said that allows him to do those magic things out there to move them around.
Well, he likes to run the bases very aggressively.
Both coaches like to move their people and create things. I like what Gerlach said. He made a comment that you need breaks in a game, but the better you play, the less breaks you need.
That's right.
2-2 the count. Fouled off. Long hanging tough and another good at bat.
Herrin, of course, is a veteran of this tournament. They've been here 9 times. Only Casey has been to a state tournament more. They've been to this tournament 10 times, and Herrin is the smallest school in the AA finals. The Elite Eight this year was 690 students.
Back, and that great changeup right there by Elza. April Long goes down swinging. And speaking of small schools, Loy, in fact, they're so small that next year they will be Class A.
Elza, perfect pitch. Low, right where you want to change up, and she doesn't throw that pitch a lot. And I haven't seen anyone even come close to hitting it in this tournament in the 3 games that she's thrown it.
It looks easy, but boy, I tell you, from 40 feet, you don't have a lot of time to react. And when that pitch comes, it's just such a change. And it's believable. Elza throws it like you mentioned. It's very, very believable.
Right. This is one of the Calcaterra twins. And Coach Gerlach also coaches the girls basketball team, and he coaches both these girls in 2 sports and says he still can't tell them apart. And he'll yell at one of them in basketball for not doing something, and she'll point at the other one and say she's the one that didn't do it.
He may know who they are very well, but they may be playing the old twin game. Ball strike called, 1-2. Marty last time called out on strikes and determined to go up there and make contact.
She's played first base like no other first baseman in this tournament defensively.
She had a great foul ball, a line foul ball that she dove and grabbed and brought out the oohs and ahs. It was just a super play. One of many I'm sure she's had this year, but it was nice to see her get to display her skills here.
Right.
One and 2 the count. There's 1 out. This is top of 4. And if you've just joined us, this is a AA IHSA softball tournament here in Pekin, Illinois. I'm Ann Penstone along with Lori Ramsey. And it's been a classic fast pitch game so far. Herrin in the lead and looking to pad it.
Calcaterra really concentrating up there.
And that ball was just perfect by Amy Elsa as Calcaterra looks at called strike 3 and becomes the 2nd out of the inning.
As you can see by this pitch, Elza lives on that outside corner. And if I were going to bat against her, I certainly would get in on the plate a little more.
And that ball hit sharply by her sister, Maggie Calcaterra, and she's on with a single. So after 2 are gone, she starts a rally.
Elza throwing the ball high, pretty much down the middle. Calcaterra just got all of it. And as they say now, tougher with 2. They're going to try and score with 2 outs.
Well, both coaches have talked about manufacturing things, and we'll see what Coach Gerlach is going to try to create here.
He's inserting a pinch runner, as a lot of these schools do. Some of these girls, I think, are on the team just to run.
And it looks like it's Amy Stubbe, number 34, a 5'9" sophomore.
She was used as a pinch runner the other day also, and scored. A very quick girl.
Always makes you look good as a coach.
Running for Maggie Calcaterra at first base is number 34, Amy Stubbe.
Herrin has finished twice, second twice in this tournament, and both under Coach Gerlach. When they first came to the tournament, they lost their first 2 games 12-1 and 16-2, so you can tell what kind of improvement that program has had.
Second only to Casey. And that's going to bring up the catcher, Jenny Overmeyer. She was out going to third base last time.
Thompson has spent more time talking to Elza and discussing what pitches they're going to throw in this game.
Foul down the right side as Grinsweetz hustles over.
That's Byron Keener, the first base coach down. There's Bruce Gerlach, head coach for Herrin. I don't think that's a signal, do you, Ann?
I don't think so. You mentioned Mr. Keener, and they work together in basketball as well. So this is a tandem that goes 2 seasons back to back. That ball gets away, and on down to second, tries Stubbe, and she is out of there, says Bobby Mattingly.
She couldn't quite make up her mind. She started, stopped, and then started the second time.
Well, high fives all around from Amy Thompson down to shortstop, and after 3.5, it's still 1-0 Herrin, with the Mustangs coming to bat. Jamie Shattuck looking down at her counterpart Amy Elza. Bottom half of 4, good cut by Elza. And as Shattuck has done to almost every batter, she goes ahead.
Throwing strikes is her game, and that's not going to change.
Elza grounded out to second. In the second,
we have your classic pitchers duel here, Ann. Something that's very common in softball. Your top softball pitchers all have earned run averages around 1 or less than 1.
Both of these are right at 0.25 and 0.26 coming into this ball game. So that ball hard hit. Oh, tipped away by Hoagland. And that'll probably be scored a hit when Elza just killed that ball. It is, says the official scorer, Judy Johnson. So the Mustangs have another base runner. Let's see if they can manufacture something.
You'll see this ball hit right towards second base, and the backhand attempt, the toughest play for a second baseman, going away from first and having to turn and make that tough throw.
Well, Hoagland made a great stab at it, did it all right, and it just into the glove. Dina Sivacek is coming in to pinch run for the pitcher Amy Elza, as she has done in this tournament.
This is your standard sacrifice situation in softball. We'll see if Coach Gerlach goes by the book or lets her hit away.
And that's going to bring up Jamie Balowski, who had a single last time up. She'd sure like to duplicate that right now. See if we've got a hit and run or a steal going on. Going to bunt it down, laid down nicely, fielded by third baseman Shelley Davy, and out over to the second baseman Hoagland for the out. So the sacrifice successfully executed by Balowski, and moves Sivacek down to second in scoring position, and that'll bring up Carrie Sullivan, the left fielder.
Sullivan, you notice that Balowski stayed in the box and put the ball down, as you should for a sacrifice, not running out trying to get a base hit, and it worked.
Fouled off the plate by Sullivan. There's a good shot, too, of the double first base. So a lot of the players haven't seen this. It's white on the fair side and orange on the foul side to very easily discriminate whether the runner, as she should be, is running down in foul territory and out of the way of the play.
Right, because on bunts, if you're not in foul territory going down the line, they call you out for interference.
It's really easy to tell with that double and colored first base. Carrie Sullivan. Bounce to shortstop. Oh, and down safe, and now we've got some action here as Calcaterra's throw was laid over to her sister Marty, and we've got runners on the corner with 1 out. That'll be scored an error.
Calcaterra let that ball play her, and like a lot of fielders, she had trouble with it when that occurred. I think you saw the Downers Grove South runner take that little extra base there too, and Coach Gerlach referred to that as his kamikaze base run.
You can go and slide it home. Safety, not all the way in.
They're going to try the squeeze here, is what Velka called. And I don't know if she missed the sign or wasn't the right pitch, because Velka said to his runner Sivacek, she's going to try to bunt it. Right. What to do.
Safety squeeze is what he said. Not all the way off. Safety squeeze.
Fouled it.
Yeah, and she didn't come. The suicide squeeze, the runner just takes off with the pitch and depends on the batter to get the ball down. Safety squeeze, they take off and hesitate about 5 steps off the base to see where the ball goes.
And now it's 0-2 to batter Debbie Mays. It was out to the catcher last time up the bat. She needs to put it in play. Shattuck.
Too high.
Got her out swinging for the second out of the inning, and that's going to bring up Katie Wise, the designated hitter, who went down swinging in inning number 3.
Great pitchers pitch well with runners on third. Anybody can pitch with the bases empty.
Strike 1 to Wise. Now we may get a delayed steal over there. Sullivan taking a big lead, then deciding to come back. Maybe trying to get Seabasak in on some throwing by Herrin around.
I think you'll see her run.
And she goes, but they let her. So officially it's a stolen base, but it was to keep the runner coming in from third.
Downers Grove South's philosophy on base running is to be aggressive, and I just felt she would run on that, and I think Herrin's philosophy is let Jamie Shattuck do it, and that's exactly what they've done here. A hit would score 2 possibly and give Downers Grove South the lead.
It's the bottom of the 4th inning. They're down by 1, and that tying run is 60 feet away. And it's going to stay there as Shattuck just put one right down the pipe and fooled Katie Wise, getting out of another jam. Downers Grove has had 2 of these types and left both those runners stranded. So after 4 complete innings, it's still 1-0, the Tigers of Herrin. Great pitchers bear down in tough situations. Runners at first and third. There's the called third strike by Jamie Shattuck as she gets herself out of a jam, and there's a smile as she sits in the dugout after a great half inning. Bringing to bat one of her teammates, number 20, her catcher, Overmeyer, and unassisted goes Leanne Grinsweetz on the first pitch at top of the 5th.
You know, I talked to Coach Gerlach before this game started and asked him what he thought Jamie Shattuck's greatest talent was, and he said her fierce competitiveness, and we just saw it.
And that's going to bring up Shelly Davy, the third baseman. Went down swinging in the 2nd inning. She looks at called strike 1.
Elza's still bringing the ball at the batter. She hasn't exactly sloughed off either. Living on the outside corner, and there's another one.
Just a little bit outside, she smiles. 1-1.
Neither pitcher has gotten upset with the umpire. They're right in their own little concentration tunnel doing their job.
Fouled off, 1-2. Well, the most important thing, every umpire has a slightly different strike zone, but the key thing, of course, for everybody's comfort is that they're consistent with it.
Right, as a coach, I tell my pitchers to learn the umpire's strike zone and to go with it, not to try and change it, because it's not going to change.
There's a definite difference in who's in control in that situation. 2-2 the count to Davy. 282 hitter for the season coming into this game. Set some plays at third base tonight. One big one to keep a run from coming in on the chopper coming at her. Fouls it off and hangs tough. We're glad you joined us here in Mineral Springs Park in Pekin, Illinois for the AA championship game. Coach Barb Waddell from Pekin High School and her tremendous crew have just put on a show all weekend here for us, and we're glad you've joined us.
We have a nice crowd here tonight, and they're vocal. They're in the game.
Elza with that changeup, you think she should throw more often, and when she does, she's sure been successul with it.
No one's hit it yet. Most pitchers are a little leery about throwing it because some pitchers don't feel they control it quite as well as their other pitch, but she throws strikes almost every time.
Here's some of the Herrin Tigers in their orange and black. Almost looks like the coach's twin up there in the corner. Relaxed, leaning back as Kimmy McNeil takes swings at strike 1.
Coach Gerlach also coached football. One year he had basketball, softball, and football, and I guess he decided that was a little much and he gave up football.
Well, he's busy enough with these two sports in his most sports now are year-round. As you look at Kimmy McNeil's stats, and she's 0-2 right now. She grounded out to the second baseman last time up, and she's going to go down swinging for out number 3. So after that half inning, there were no hits and no runs, and it's still Herrin 1-0. We'll be back. Stay with us. There are some of the Mustangs of Downers Grove South showing their enthusiasm and support for their Mustangs. A couple of horses on their poles there. That's a cute mascot they have along. This is a very knowledgeable crowd, Lori. Pekin-Letts, of course, have been here for years, and there have been national tournaments staged here. It's a very knowledgeable crowd. It's nice. Oh, almost foul ball. It's going to be fair ball. She touched it. April Long made a great attempt at that ball, but leading off here in the bottom of the 5th.
She didn't quite get her glove closed, and I think she's a little disgusted with herself for that reason.
She had
a high pitch. She had it right in there. It hit a little bit on the heel of the glove, and she had trouble controlling it.
Well, umpire Dave Johnson just got out of the way of that ball dribbling out of the gloves. Now we've got a foul ball.
Right field's been action central in Herrin tonight because of the speed of Jamie Shattuck. You don't pull her very often.
Well, Aaron and Spigelis hit that ball on a rope, and it was a great attempt by Long. I thought she had it, so did she, and it just kind of dribbled out of there.
We've got the top of the Downers Grove South lineup up right now, and a very quick batter in Kirsten Lindell, and the bunt situation staring us in the face again.
And fouled it off. So, Lloyd, that inability to bunt that you've been talking about in the tournament has really been crucial right here for the Mustangs. They need to get that young lady down to second scoring position with less than 2 outs.
I believe Lindell had the same problem last time, and, you know, she's a girl that's leaving the plate too soon.
But she did have a double after she got in trouble, so maybe swinging away.
Well, maybe she wants to swing.
I think she likes to swing. I know she wants to move her teammate Aaron down to second, so let's see what she does with an 0-2 count and nobody out against Shattuck. Hard hit shortstop, chance for the double play ball. Goes to second baseman Hoagland, but too fast. Down the base pass goes Lindahl, and it'll be a fielder's choice.
Herrin doesn't make useless throws. They've been very well coached on that. This was an atom ball right at the shortstop, Maggie Calcaterra. Nice timing on her throw to the second baseman, who held the ball, didn't make the useless throw to first.
And we're going to get another pinch runner coming in for the Mustangs, number 24. That'll be Nicole Kistu coming in to run. It's a tough name to say. She's been in this tournament before, and she is a crucial person right now in the plans of Ron Havelka.
This is her second appearance in the tournament. This too has been used before, I believe, as a pinch runner.
Ball inside, gets away, but Overmeyer recovers quickly to save anybody going down. And Leanne Grinsweetz is the hitter, the first baseman. She's 1 for 2 tonight and had a stolen base. Tries to hold up.
The outfield playing relatively shallow, particularly in center and left, for a batter Grinsweetz's size and power.
1-1 the count, 1 out. Shattuck and Grinsweetz fooled on that pitch on that rise ball. Tries to stop it again. Has trouble holding up the bat. 1-2. Tying run is at first.
Coach Havelka is from the school of positive thinking. He's very encouraging to his hitters.
Ball a little bit low. Count goes to 2-2. Grinsweetz hitting .402 for the season coming into tonight's game, and she's 1 for 2 tonight. Hasn't hurt her stats any, but more important to her, she'd like to move her teammate around, especially in a scoring position. And Shattuck gets just as tough as she does in any of these situations and puts her down.
She set her up for that outside rise. She throws an outside. There it comes, high and curve.
Great shot by our camera people to see what that ball does.
She's got a rise ball that curves outside, and that's a very hard pitch to hit for power unless you learn how to take it to the opposite field.
That brings up Amy Thompson, the hard-hitting catcher. Looks down for Havelka for her signals. 0 for 2 tonight. She's hit the ball, but hasn't found the hole yet.
Have you noticed, Ann, every time Shattuck gets in trouble, she gets about 5 miles an hour faster on her pitches?
Little adrenaline there?
Right, quite a little, I think.
Okay, we got a little discussion going on right now. Havelka wants to make sure he knows what happened. Thompson apparently swung the bat at Pat Creek.
She's trying to get out of the way of the pitch. She's trying to get out of the way of the pitch.
Well, in the opinion of the first base umpire, she was swinging for it.
Can you ask her? I mean, she doesn't think.
Little disagreement on whether she swung or tried to get out of the way of the pitch, and I think the umpire is Pat Creek, who has worked in National ASA Women's Fast Pitch Tournaments, so she's had a lot of experience.
Thompson hit that one long and hard. Is it catchable? Oh, it goes over the head of April Long and is probably going to bring in the tying run. Long comes up with it as Thompson goes to third, standing up. Oh my gosh, and that overthrow, she's going to be done here. As she tries to make the heads-up play, and what an unusual sequence of events here. She triples the tying run in and then gets caught coming down the line on what she thought would be an overthrow. And we're out of the 5th, but we're all tied up. Well, we're all even now, 1-1, and we'll be back with the 6th. Don't go away, come right back. Shattuck is bearing down in these tough situations, but Thompson nails it, goes right over the head of the right fielder, April Long. Tough ball to play. She turned one way, came back, recovers nicely. Meanwhile, Kitsu is coming home with the tying run. Thompson goes into third, standing up. Now the throw by second baseman Robin Hoagland looks to be overthrown, but caught by Obermeyer, and Thompson got caught down the middle and was tagged out easily. So an unusual ending to that half of the inning.
Well, Thompson had stopped at third, and then Coach Havelka restarted her, and by the time she got started, it was too late. A lot of times runners have to make their own decision, but of course it's impossible when you're running with your back to the play.
Well, we're all even now, and we're coming into top half of 6, so Downers Grove South got what they wanted. They manufactured that run with some power, and Herrin's going to have to start it all over again, and they'll do it right now at the top of the order with Nicole Murray.
They manufactured some power, and I believe April Long may have turned the wrong way, and it looked like the ball just missed her glove.
The ball's carrying very well, and it's a tough outfield. You're downhill when you're playing out there, and when she turned one way, she made a great attempt coming back on it. And let's see if Nicole Murray can put the taggers on. Grinsweetz grabs it for out number 1.
One thing Coach Gerlach prides the team, himself and the team on, is their excellent outfield play, and he said that his assistant coach, Byron Keener, works with the outfielders a lot. I was real impressed with his statement on that, because a lot of coaches do not stress outfield play. And of course, if an outfielder misses a ball, it's 3 bases. If an infielder misses a ball, it's 1 base.
Well, Aaron Bigelow made a great catch earlier in the tournament, so just one of the 3 outstanding. There it is. It's going to fall. It may fall in there. Oh, a nice attempt between Lindell and Bigelow, but that ball had eyes, and it drops in for a single. Ball off the top of the bat.
This is one of those plays where the right fielder has got to take charge, because the infielder's running with her back to the infield. Can't really see the outfielder, and the outfielder has the whole play in front of her. She might have had a shot at it.
She has made a great catch like that early in a shoe-top catch before in the tournament.
Right.
But she's looking at the second baseman. Like you say, it's the outfielder. She can see the whole thing. She's got to make the call, and that's going to bring up the pitcher, Jamie Shattuck, who has 1 RBI in this game and would like to bring in another, start this thing all over again.
I seriously doubt that she will bunt.
Not the way she swings the bat.
You don't bunt your best hitter.
Hoagland at first and Shattuck at bat. 1-0 the count. Elza puts one right down by her. 1-1.
I doubt that she'll get called out on strike. She gets her money's worth up there. She's a very aggressive hitter, and that's what good hitters are.
It's been a fun deal to watch the two of them bat against each other.
Yes, because they're both good hitters, and they're both aggressive. Here comes the outside pitch.
A little bit of off speed, too. 2-1.
Elza likes to throw that 2 or 3 pitches into the count.
I've been impressed with Shattuck's eye, too. She really, a lot of times catchers have very good eyes generally from looking all the time, and the pitchers do, too. She's very careful about what she's going after. Foul tip, 2-2.
They jammed her there, and that's an example of taking her down and out, and then down and in. Not up in the eyes where she can hit the ball for power, which she does so well, and not letting her just get set for one particular pitch. There's a lot of strategy out there between Amy Thompson and the batter, and she's calling a great game.
Well, Elza's got 7 strikeouts.
Back outside again after they've just jammed her.
Ball hit into the hole, and Shattuck comes through again, fielded by Debbie Mays. They hold her to a single, and she moves Hoagland over to second. We've got her second hit of the inning, and that's going to bring up cleanup hitter April Long as we've got timeout on the field.
Shattuck has the ability to go with the pitch. They were going outside. She took it to the opposite field, right past the second baseman. Hit the ball into right center on the outside pitch. Didn't try and pull it or power it.
There's Hoagland at second, giving the thumbs up sign to Jamie Shattuck. There she is at first base. So runners at first and second. There's 1 out. We're all tied up 1-1. It's the top of the 6th inning in the Class AA Championship softball game. And the two Amy's are talking again on the mound. Very important that they've got everything together and know exactly what each other's going to do.
And here comes April Long, that's been involved in every key play in the outfield from the first inning on.
She has been a busy young lady tonight, both at the plate where she has a double. She's 1 for 2, and in the outfield.
April's had a very fine tournament.
She's not batting cleanup for nothing, and she was .359 coming into the tournament, so now you get to take a look at, she's done nothing but improve it.
Attention, please. Would you please return your all-tournament team ballots immediately to the press box? Any media that has an all-tournament team ballot to turn in, please do so immediately. Thank you.
April Long, the left-handed hitting batter. As you see, Elza prepare the windup, fouled off.
April wants to make sure she gets into that box without Elza quick pitching. And she's walking out. She puts her hand up to make sure so that the umpire gives her time. She wants to be set. While she does that, Amy Elza's warming up on the mound.
The infield's deep. They're not... Oh, good pitch by Elza. Goes 0-2, so she's well ahead of Long right now. It's a great pitch.
Not only was that a great pitch, but it puts Elza in the position. Good rise ball up high, hard for her to get level on. And it puts her in the position where Long has to hit her pitch now, and I doubt that she'll get anything very good.
And this is a real big out right now for Elza. She can get it. A little bit low.
Down and out. And the way Amy Thompson's moving the ball around on the hitter, she'll probably come up and in on the next one.
Well, she's been very successful tonight with moving her pitches around. She's had a strikeout in every inning, 7 to date. And I know would love to get one right here on April Long. Fouled out. 1-2, she protects the plate.
Elza throwing that ball hard. Long was a little late in getting around. She hasn't slowed down a bit. And now she's working on 11 innings her first game. 7 this morning is 17, and 6 more is 23 innings.
little bit of an advantage she had the earlier game. At least you get at least a couple hours extra rest.
Right.
Between she and Shattuck, but she had pitched a lot more in this tournament. 1-2 the count. Fouled off again.
Long just a little bit late in getting around on Elza.
Battling every pitch. And this is classic. It is a situation where the lead run is on second base. There's one out. And coming out of tying the game, Downers Grove would love to hold them right here and not let anything else get going by the Herrin Tigers. Of course, they have a lot of other ideas.
Right, and Herrin's met the ball really fairly well the whole game.
Two great teams playing each other. Fouled off again as Long is just battling out here. She and Elza in the classic duel.
Most right-handed pitchers are not excited about seeing left-handed batters come to the plate. First of all, they're 2 steps closer to first base, and you already know that if they hit the ball on the ground, it's going to be a bang-bang play for your infield. And second, you're not used to them as much as you are right-handed hitters.
1-2 the count. It's been a long at bat for Long. And Elza gets her with the strikeout. That was a huge pitch. So there are 2 outs right now and runners at first and second.
She threw the ball down and in on her, and that's a very tough spot to hit the softball.
Looked real similar to strike number 2.
Right.
That rise ball, you just went under it, and that's going to bring into bat Marty Calcaterra, a senior first baseman.
Marty will be playing her softball at the University of Evansville next year.
Marty's 0 for 2 tonight. Lays off the high one.
Elza is very good at not giving you too much to hit. She stays away from the middle of the plate. Early in the game, she was not quite as stingy with the ball. She got a little bit into the middle of the plate, and they hit her.
Goes up again. Count evens at 1-1.
That was a rise ball, and that's a very difficult pitch to lay off in any situation, and particularly now when you want to bring in the winning run or the leading run.
Been a long inning. Holgen still out there in second. Advanced by Shattuck. Outside, 2-1.
Elza wanted that pitch, but it looked a little outside to me, Ann.
Well, it's going to count as a ball, 2-1. And Hoagland's been waiting out there in scoring position as you get a good look at Marty Calcaterra. She'd like to get a bat on this ball and bring up her twin sisters and keep this rally going. But Elza pulls the string on her, and I believe we got a slow but a called strike for the second out of the inning. So Calcaterra having difficulty with Elza, and she's not alone in that.
She has 2 strikes, I believe.
And you're right, it's going to be counted as strike 2. So I was a little.
She pulled her head off the ball on that swing. That's one of the cardinal sins in hitting. You've really got to anchor your chin and keep your head in there. Let's see if she does a better job on this next pitch.
Counts 2-2. There are 2 outs. Runners on first and second. Fouled back. Calcaterra gets a piece of that. Pitch by Elza as she comes down to retrieve it from Thompson.
Elza has really been throwing her the rise ball, and she's chased some bad ones, but she's fouling them off.
She laid off the first pitch of this inning, which was Elza tried to go after her right away, but she laid off it. So she's being much more selective this at bat. Going outside with her, it looks like. Tries the high ball, and it's going to advance the runners as Elza throws it over the head of catcher Amy Thompson. So now the runners at second and third, and now that means that Calcaterra's at bat may be even more productive if she gets the bat on the ball and find a hole.
2 outs in the inning. This is a very crucial point in the ball game. Thompson's going to take a timeout to go out and calm down Elza, who looks a little nervous there, kicking the rubber a little bit, kicking the dirt.
We saw Shattuck at second and Hogan at third. Hogan representing the lead run right now.
With first base open, I'm sure Thompson reminded Elza not to throw anything too fat.
Well, we've got a full count right now, and there are 2 outs.
First base open. 3-2 count on the hitter.
And she lays off of it, so Calcaterra this time learned from her first 2 at-bats, and the bases are jammed, and it'll bring up Sister Maggie, the shortstop.
That was not a bad pitch on Elza's part. Bases loaded and a force-out situation anywhere with 2 outs.
And that's the first walk of the ball game issued by either pitcher.
And I think that was partially intentional. I'm sure Thompson and Elza talked about that. And she'd rather be working with a clean count than a 3-2 count where she has to come in.
She's also created a force out at any base for her defensive players. And that ball popped up. Going to be taken by shortstop Jamie Balowski. So after quite a threat with the bases jammed, Amy Elza and teammates hold them off. And we'll come to bat in the bottom half of 6. We're all tied up. Well, if you're enjoying girls softball here at Mineral Springs, we've also got a treat for you. Stay tuned tonight on Sports Channel for live coverage of the boys AA baseball championships. The first pitch comes your way tonight at 7 p.m. on your home for the IHSA champions, Sports Channel. Tune in. And we've got a great game going for you right here, just as championship games should be. They are even. We're through 6 innings. Of course, we play 7 innings, and coming to bat is Amy Elza, the pitcher, who got out of a jam last half of the inning, leaving 3 runners stranded.
Elza will be doing her pitching for Bradley University next year.
And she'll be doing some hitting for them, too, if they need indication. She goes right up the pipe. She has singled the last 2 times at bat off of Shattuck, and that puts a runner on with nobody out.
Shattuck, of course, has been throwing the ball right in there on the first pitch, and that one was right down the middle, and she hit it right where it was pitched.
And that's going to bring up Jamie Balowski, who caught that fly ball in the last half of the inning, as you see Elza at first. Balowski also is 1 for 2, hitting over 400.
Another bunt situation, and of course, pitchers a lot of times will throw the ball up high, hoping for a pop-up in a bunt situation. That's the toughest ball to get on the ground, and Shattuck had the ball high out of the strike zone on the first pitch.
Balowski has done her job tonight. She's 1 for 1, having a sacrifice in the 4th inning and a single in the 2nd.
A definite bunt situation, and Shattuck's going to have to come over to her now, right down the middle. She doesn't want a 3-0 count.
Goes to bunt. Umpire says that was an attempt, and we've got strike 1. So the count's 2-1 as Rhonda Velka checks to make sure that it was a swing rather than a called strike.
To me, the ball looked like it was right down the middle.
See if we can hear what he's saying.
It was a strike. Well, that was low.
Well, he thought it was low, but it was called strike, and it was called a strike. So that was what he wanted to know. He wanted to know if there was an attempt or the pitch was called a strike, and apparently it was called a strike. So we've got 2-1, nobody out. Elza on first, and of course our batter is Jamie Balowski. She goes to bunt again. This time gets it down. It's fielded by Calcaterra and makes the play down to Hoagland. It's covering first base, but she does her job and gets the 2nd sacrifice of the night.
Calcaterra made a perfect throw to the girl covering first base. And again, she wasn't leaving the box when she made the bunt. She's out automatically because she's out of the lane that she has to run to first.
There's Elza at 2nd, representing the lead run, as Shattuck goes to work on Carrie Sullivan, who goes to the shortstop. And Maggie Calcaterra throws to Sister Marty for the 2nd out of the inning, but not before Elza advances to third base. You know, on that bunt, Lori, it looked like it might have gone foul, and I'm surprised Marty didn't wait just a little bit longer to be sure.
Right, to take her right out of the bunt situation, because that would have been 2 strikes. On the last play, the ball going to the shortstop, looks at the runner, thinks better of it, gets the batter by 1 step.
Shattuck goes real high on batter Debbie Mays. Debbie 0 for 2 tonight. Trying to bring in her pitcher, Amy Elza, in from 3rd.
I think Shattuck will try and make Mays hit her pitch.
That That ball goes by, passed down, Overmeyer goes, but in there comes Elza as Overmeyer unable to get the ball down quickly as it skidded away on the backstop. And the Mustangs are going wild in the dugout.
That was scored as a wild pitch, and really it was just, I think, very hard for Jenny Overmeyer to get up. Seeing the pitch now, you can see how high it was.
Saw Mays signal in, and it's a great overhead shot. She's clearly there as the tag being made. I'm surprised that Shattuck didn't block the plate a little bit more.
She didn't even get to the plate. And
now bunted foul is pinch hitter, designated hitter Katie Wise, as she tries to get on with the pinch.
I think that's a good strategy move right there, because I think Coach Havelic is relying on the fact that Herrin's a little upset by all this right now.
Apologize, that's of course Debbie Mays, who was still at bat when that wild pitch went through. 1-1 is the count to Debbie with 2 outs. Fouled off. Wanted to take it back, but 1-2.
This won't be the last game that Elza and Shattuck pitch against each other. Shattuck's going to SIU and Elza's going to Bradley, and they're in the same conference.
Shattuck bearing down, fouled off again by Mays, and she's hanging tough. Still 1-2 as somebody in the stands makes a great catch and throws it back into Overmeyer. Fouled off again, right back at us, Lloyd, but the fence stopped it.
Sure did.
Tell you, our camera crew is getting some great shots, not just of the action anticipation, but also of facial expressions to give you an idea what high school sports is all about.
And the concentration on their faces says a lot about how much this game means to all these players.
Fouled again. Debbie Mays making Shattuck work very hard for this out.
And Shattuck hasn't slowed down a bit. She's shown a lot of poise in a situation where you could easily become rattled.
Hit hard, but right at Robin Hoagland, who grabs the liner for the out. But not before the lead run comes across in the bottom half of 6, and Downers Grove South takes their first lead of the ball game. We'll be back. Stay with us. The cheering Mustangs. Let's look at that lead run right now by the Mustangs.
The ball high and outside, gets by Jenny Overmeyer. Shattuck doesn't get all the way to the plate, and the throw is a little bit to the first base side. A combination of not quite covering and the throw being a little bit behind and to the side of the runner. That was a play that maybe could have been made.
And now for the first time, the Mustangs, as is their custom before each inning, come together and have a meeting on the mound, but this time they're playing with the lead and Elza there to help protect it. Herrin, we've mentioned, has been to this game 9 times. They finished second twice. They're an outstanding ball club, and they want to take it right now, top half of the 7. They have got to score to keep this game going.
Coach Havelka said getting to this tournament was a dream, and there were a lot of things in softball that maybe this would never happen again, and his dream's about to come true.
Overmeyer dribbles one down to first. Grinsweetz makes the great play and tags the runner Overmeyer down for the first out. They are 2 outs away from a state championship as Overmeyer hustled down there, almost outrunning that play, which is very quick. She's an excellent catcher, showed good speed there.
Herrin is more toward the bottom than the top of their batting order now, which puts a lot of pressure on some of these batters.
You know, it just proves that so many coaches have said during the tournament, the 6th inning usually brings up your top half of your batting order, and the 7th, that's the inning you want to do something, and Downers Grove South did. Now we've got Shelly Davey coming to bat, taps it, and she got the second baseman going the other way, but she quickly, Lindell recovers and goes after the ball for out number 2 as she flips it to Grinsweetz.
Lindell has great quickness, and I think See the determination on Elsa's face? The throw, nice underhand scoop, and that's exactly what you have to have. You can't stand up or you can't make a sideways throw or you're too late.
Well, Downers Grove South is standing right now as the fans are looking for out number 3, which would bring them a state championship. And up to bat, Kimmy McNeil, 0 for 2 tonight. Kimmy is a designated hitter, foul, hit right out to Elsa, who decides to take the safe lane as she has done all the time to throw. Runs it down to first and now is mobbed by her teammates as she throws it to Grinsweetz.
Well, the first time was a charm for Coach Havelka, and he looks like a very happy person right now. He said before the game started that these girls really liked each other, got along well, and I think in any team sport you have to have that camaraderie, and you can see it right now.
Well, there's some of their supporters, Downers Grove South, as they savor this initial reaction to the tournament as the players go down the line to shake hands. It's a tough, hard-fought battle. Well, I tell you what, I hope you've enjoyed this, and there's more to come, so stay with us. We'll be right back. As we look at the medallions being placed around the necks of the Downers Grove South Mustangs, let's take a look at the last out of this ball game.
Here's the pitch by Elsa, jammed the batter. Hit it very weakly to the pitcher. She underhands it to first, and you see instant joy when they know they've got what they came for. First place.
They've been ranked number 1 throughout much of the year by several newspapers and the press, and they have come through to be crowned the champions as their ranking deserved.
They really had more pressure than Herrin because anytime you're ranked number 1 in the poll, you think about that a lot. When you're down lower in the poll or not in the poll at all, you don't have the same week-by-week pressure of other teams chasing you.
Well, the final totals, there were 8 hits and 2 runs by Downers Grove South, and half of that 4 hits and 1 run by Herrin. So Downers Grove South kept the ball in play.
They kept the ball in play. They forced some mistakes, and when that happens, you're just going to score somewhere along the line when there's a little crack, and that's exactly what they did. And the little crack was not actually a batting crack. It was a wild pitch, and maybe not the best play in the world of retrieving the ball and covering the plate.
I tell you, here in high school, the Tigers are a tremendous ball club, and you can see what kind of emotion went into getting here to this tournament and how they feel right now. It's very difficult at this point, but there's a smile that you'll see tomorrow as they realize they're state runner-up in the state of Illinois.
Not only will they realize that, but I imagine the city of Herrin will welcome them with open arms and make it a much more pleasant situation than accepting second-place medals tonight.
So often at this level of play, when teams are this good, and you saw 2 great pitchers going at each other and the batters keeping the ball in play and defense, it's going to be some little thing that turns the tide, and it did tonight.
Right, and that was a very tough play for Overmeyer when she was down. It looked to me like she was looking for a low pitch, and it just kind of sailed on Shattuck, and you just don't get up that quickly on a pitcher that throws the ball as fast as Shattuck does. If it would have been an average pitcher, the ball quickly, Overmeyer might have been able to catch the ball.
On the ball, I believe it also, when it hit the fence, it actually tailed away, and she had to go after it, stretched out. She hustled, and just the ball tailed away from her by the time she could recover it, and Shattuck could get in there. The young lady was under the tag, and that was the winning run, as you see Ron Havelka.
He's going to have a happy trip back home. First time up, and he hit a home run.
Well, as you see, the last young lady getting her medal, it's their pitcher, Amy Elza. Let's go to Bob Neal and the team trophies.
And the athletic director, Larry Smith.
Well, Amy Elza giving high 10s to Amy Thompson, her battery mate. And now let's get those trophies.
Second and first place trophies will be board members, Mr. Bill Mitz
principal of Monticello High School, and Mr. Jim Freeze, principal of Downers Grove North High School. Will Coach Bruce Gerlach and captains of the Herrin High School team please step forward to receive the second place trophy.
Yeah.
Mr. Mitz, if you please.
The Tigers of Herrin.
And now the first place trophy presentation.
They certainly have nothing to be ashamed of.
And there are your 1993 champions. As you look at the Mustangs, we'd like to remind you that our next IHSA event comes your way tonight when we'll crown the boys AA baseball champions. Live action begins at 7 p.m. tonight. This game was produced and directed by Michelle Zavanti-Godwin. Graphics coordinator is Doug Stanton. Remote facilities were provided by Trio Video, and our executive producer is Greg Bowman. Our thanks to Sue Hendrickson and her IHSA staff. For Lori Ramsey, I'm Ann Penstone saying goodbye for now. Once again, the final score is Downers Grove South 2, Herrin 1. This game has been an exclusive presentation of Sports Channel.